I was about to say you can't beat me.
Listen, you guys all how many kills me and him just had. He sold the game and he only had 6 kills. I just had 11. Nah, he killed a bot and I told him to shoot grenade launchers into the hole and he acted like he was retarded.
I'm terrible at that stuff. I don't even.
20 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. Alive.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to the Matt Ridges Davidson-Davie Community College Coaches Show. I'm Miles Poole, the gentleman sitting here to my right, not Coach Ridge, but Storm Assistant Corey Dumas going to be filling in tonight, so we're glad to have you here, Coach. Going to be a lot of fun chatting with you, and we got a couple of player interviews tonight. Jalen Roberts and Will Gray going to be stepping up and putting the headphones on in a little bit, but we want to remind you that if you want to send in a message or text or ask the coach a question via our Facebook link, we'll be following that as we go through the show, and we'll be looking forward to seeing those comments for you. So, Coach, tough night last night. We'll talk about that game in a little bit, but welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You guys are 10-1.
Yeah. Yes,
0
sir.
5 5 and 0,
Yeah.
5 and 0 in conference play. Still number one in the country. Busy show, a busy couple of weeks since our last coaches show. So we'll take a look at those games. We'll talk a little bit about the Sand Hill game last night as Christmas quickly approaches us here. But if we go back to November the 23rd, we played the Cougars of Central Carolina here in Brinkley Gym. Second conference game of the season. They're a much improved team from last year. We led them by 15 at the break, and then in the second half we outscored them 26. So by 26, 112 to 71 point victory. What were the keys, in your opinion, to that win? And at the time, that was your highest point total of the season.
Yeah, well, one thing that we preach to our kids all the time is our best offense is our defense. And in that second half, well, really at halftime, that's something that we really harped on, picking up the defensive intensity, getting deflections and tap outs and turning those into steals and runouts. And that's what we did. We kind of came out that second half and we started flying around. Guys were getting deflections and getting steals. And next thing you know, you look up, we were up 15 more. And, again, you look up, here we go, we're up 20. And it just kind of kept building like that. And that was probably up to that point in the season our most complete defensive half.
You had 7 guys, I think, score in double figures in the game. And you talked about the defense being your best offense. A lot of really unselfish play, team play in that game too. Talk a little bit about how they share the ball, how they're playing as a team at this point in the season.
Yeah, that's one thing that we always talk about in practice, in the locker room, just having the 5 out there play as one. Not caring about who's scoring, who's doing what, everybody just doing their job and filling their roles and not really caring about, who's getting 20 points, who's getting this or that. Because if everybody does their job the way we play, you're going to have nights where you have 7 guys in double figures and the rest of the guys have 8, 9 points along with that. And, I think that bodes well for our guys when they realize that playing together as one, we can be a really dominant force.
Well, after that game, you had another conference game with a very familiar opponent, Fayetteville Tech. Coach Brian Hurd brought his team in here. Always seemed to play us very, very close, and this game was no exception. I think we had a 14-point lead at the half, but they kept things interesting after the break. We won 113 to 99, but in that game, what kind of challenges did you guys feel from Fayetteville Tech?
Well, I tell you, man, Fayetteville Tech's one of those teams you look at their record, and that is not what it is. They are way much better than what their record is. And we knew Coach Hurd coming in here, he was going to have his kids ready to play. And that's exactly what they were. we had a little bit of trouble, defensively from the jump. You know, like a typical Herd team, they spread you out, attack the glass hard, they rebound, they crash the offensive boards hard, and those are things that we had to adjust to with them. And basically, from my mindset, I felt like we just had to meet their intensity. And once we figured that part out and started matching their intensity, I think that's what helped us get over the hump against them. Like I say, they're a very talented team. I expect them to do really well going down the stretch here. But, that was just our night that night. We were able to execute coming down the stretch on the offensive end, and it worked out our way.
You had a guy, Ethan English, who was going to be one of our player interviews tonight, couldn't make it tonight, but he returned after missing 6 games. That was his first game back. He had a great night off the bench. I think 30 points, 3 rebounds, 5 steals, 6 assists. More importantly, no turnovers.
Yeah.
And he was 13 and 13 from the free throw line. But what does it mean to have him back in the lineup?
It means a lot. First off, he's a veteran. Ethan's been around. He's been a red shirt. Of course, he was with us last year when we made our run to the Final Four. And, he played some great games in Illinois last year. Seeing him, I told him, after that Fayetteville game, that was the best game I'd ever seen him play. And, he really did play some great games in Illinois, so that meant something, And I think he was just so hungry and eager to get back in it. I think that motivated him to go out there and play as hard as he did. And, that's just Ethan. Ethan, as they say now, the kids say he's a dog. And he gets out there and he gets at it. Defensively, he's tough. And, being a guard myself, I would hate to have to go up against a guy like him every night, night in and night out, because he's going to make you work.
It's good to have him back.
Yeah.
December 4th, we were back here in Brinkley for a matchup with the Red Hawks, Catawba Valley. In that game, 11-point lead at the break, and then you outscored the Red Hawks 71-45. Came away with an impressive 121-84 win. Talk about the keys for that win.
Well, the keys for that win, I would first off say, again, it was our defense. We stepped it up defensively, especially in the second half again. We picked it up another level, even though it wasn't that bad the first half. But another thing that we really harped on getting into that game was rebounding. Having rebounding efficiency, not just from our bigs, but our guards. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the game Will had double-figure rebounds for us. I think that's the one. But regardless, I do know all of our guards stepped up and helped rebound because they're not a small team. And we knew that coming into that, they were one of the top leading rebounding teams in the country. So that was something we definitely focused on going into that game. But like I say, defensively, we were able to speed them up, make them make some uncharacteristic plays on the offensive end, and I think that boded well for us.
Yeah, that was their first conference loss for those guys of the season. It was a pretty physical game just watching. 56 personal fouls, I think, between the two teams. 89 free throws attempted in the ball game. When you have that many free throws, it can certainly disrupt the game. It definitely slows the game down a little bit. But does that kind of disrupt the pace of what you guys want to do?
To an extent, it can, but not really. It's kind of an expectation. The way we play and as aggressive we are on the defensive end, some fouls are to be expected. The main thing about us is just not letting those fouls get to us and get into our head and make us frustrated, and realize that that's going to be a part of our games at times. When you have different sets of officials, some call it some way, some call it another. We've had games where, like you say, we've had a lot of fouls called. Then we've had some games where we might have had 30, and so it's just one of those things that we kind of know what to expect when it comes to that, but we don't let it change our style of play. We don't let it change, what we want to do and how we want to do it.
I thought one of your bigs, Lamonte Cowser, I thought maybe his best game of the season, or that I've seen him in person. He had came off the bench, 23 points that night, 6 rebounds, and he only played a little over 13 minutes of play.
Yeah.
Talk about his performance in this one and the challenges maybe that he presents for some of the opposing teams.
Well, Lamonte is one of those, especially on this level, I guess what you could call a unicorn, where he's too big for anybody guard-wise, but he's too quick for anybody his size. And, he can present a mismatch problem every night for every team. He can step outside and shoot it, so you have to respect that. But of course, obviously, he can attack the paint really well also. So, that game, he just came in with the mindset of trying to do whatever it took to help us win. Lamonte, if he keeps working, he can be a very special player. He just has to, keep the right mindset and just keep working hard. And I think he can be very special.
Well, after the Catawba Valley game, we took the show on the road for a conference matchup with the Flying Eagles of Southwest Virginia. They were, putting up a lot of points this season. And at the break, this is a pretty close game. I mean, 42-38, you guys were up, but then you put 64 points on them in the second half to their 35, and you won going away 106-73. What did you guys do differently in the second half against the Southwest Virginia team?
Well, I don't think we really did anything too different. I think sometimes, especially when you take a road trip like that to Southwest Virginia, you're going up through the mountains, you're on a bus for 3 hours or however long we were. We just kind of came out a little flat in the first half. And I think the second half, we gave them some words of encouragement. And, they woke up and they came out and played. Came out and played a lot harder. We also cut down on some of the senseless turnovers we had. We got a lot of runouts off of rebounds, and we just, we started executing. And then I think it was more or less of a thing that, you play so hard that you kind of see a team's will go away. And that belief that they had in the second half, you could that belief they had in the first half, you can kind of see it dwindling a little bit in the second.
This was your fourth straight game eclipsing the 100-point mark. Talk about the keys for you for that impressive offensive streak. That's a lot of points.
Well, like you said earlier, sharing the ball, working together, having a lot of defensive intensity, turning that defense into offense, being efficient from the free throw line, finishing our layups and, things like that. It's not because if you watch us play, we don't necessarily come out and play like Golden State where we bomb away threes. We just go on 3 levels and we just try to be as efficient as we can on every level.
Well, last night, tough road loss. Number 2 ranked nationally ranked Sand Hill in Division III, 106-104, close ball game. I thought you guys had them there at the end, but it got away. Talk a little bit about the things that they were able to do in that game to come out with a win.
Well, I would say they played hard. They played good, and they played hard enough, and they deserved to win that game, first and foremost. So hats off to them, But in the same breath, seeing these guys practice every day, seeing and knowing what they're capable of, it just wasn't our night. Guys missed shots that they normally hit. Guys did some uncharacteristic things that we don't normally do. It's hard to win when you have 28 turnovers. It's hard to win when you miss 13 free throws. Stuff that we just don't normally do. And it's a recipe to be upset when you have nights like that, and they happen. If you play basketball long enough and be in the game long enough, that it can happen. My biggest thing is that our kids understand that. We learn from it. We grow from it. We're blessed that it happened in December. It's not a conference game. Nobody's ever won a championship in December. So we have a long way to go, and we got a lot of growing to do. And like I say, it helps us as coaches because now we can really see the deficiencies. We can point things out. And, sometimes when you win so much, the mistakes aren't as big. But it takes that 1 or 2 games to lose to realize, we got problems. We got to fix this. We got to fix that. And so not saying that we have problems, but there are things that we can see now that we really need to get better at if we want to do what we ultimately want to do, and that's win the national championship.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's very well said. I mean, like you said, it's in the scheme of things, it's not a conference game. It's a game that we lost in the regular season, and you learn from it. There are things you take out of that. You learn from it, but you focus forward.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the conference, go around the conference right now. We're 10-1 again, 5-0 in conference, so we're at the top. But how does the rest of the conference stack out? I mean, are we Anything in there that you're looking at as you look at the conference that jumps out as a surprise to you?
I tell you, man, this conference is tricky this year. Just going off of what I saw last year, observing my first year with the team, and just what I knew to be the traditional powers. It's some things that's a little different this year. You really not any. It seems like any given night, any team can be beat. I see Guilford Tech making a surge. They're 3-2 right now in conference. I saw the other night. I believe it was Lewisburg. I think they beat Cleveland, and then it's just weird. It's just different teams that are beating each other and then turning around losing to each other, and it's one of those. It's a lot of parity this year. I think it's really kind of a toss up. I mean, Bryant Stratton's still out there. Pitt's looking good. Catawba Valley started off strong. Southwest Virginia can be dangerous. So I mean, like I say, it's just one of those things that every night you got to show up to play, or a team can have your number.
Yep.
And that's what I think makes good for a good conference. I mean, I think that, even going into the tournament later on, that's going to be something that every night we're just going to have to strap up and play.
You were telling me earlier before we went on the air that Guilford Tech actually beat Wake Tech last night, which is big for those guys. And then you got Fayetteville Tech at the bottom there. They're 0-5, and they're not an 0-5 team. They've lost some close games, and they'll turn that around, I'm sure.
Yes, they will. I expect them to turn it around and do some big things coming down the stretch here, and we still got to see them again. So when we play them, we better be ready.
All right, well, as we do every show, we'll typically take a break. We don't have a special guest tonight. You are the honored guest, Coach. But we're going to bring some players up, and then we'll come back and chat with you a little bit later. So first up, we got Will Gray going to step in here.
All right, Will.
Welcome, Will.
What's up? What's up?
6'1" guard out of Winston-Salem, East Forsyth and Pembroke. You're coming in tonight, averaging 11.3 points a ball game, 4.1 rebounds per game. You got 23-ish plus steals on the season so far. We'll talk a little bit before you get here, before the Storm play. You were a standout at East Forsyth. I think you were you guys won a conference championship. You were all conference for 3 seasons there. Player of the year after your junior season. I believe you led the team to the second best record in school history. And you played for your father. Your father, Monty, was the head coach there.
Yeah.
Now I think he's with Reagan. But talk a little bit about your high school experience and what it was like playing for your dad.
Man, it was crazy. It was some nights where me and him would be jawing at it, going at it the whole time, and then sometimes it was just everything was clicking. The game was going well. My teammates were playing well. My brother and I were just killing. It was just a mixture of things, but it was a great experience overall.
Do you feel like he was tougher on you and your brother than he was the other guys on the team?
Of course, he was nails, man. He was just hard on me. He was hard on David. It was all for a reason, though. He wanted us to be great, and that's what me and David are doing. So,
well, after high school, you spent a year NCAA Division II, Pembroke. Talk a little bit about that transition and what it looked like going from high school to D2.
The biggest thing was it was a job. It was an everyday thing. At East, I tried to get in the gym every single day, even on the weekends. But with Pembroke, you had to do something every day, because if you didn't do something every day, then your opportunity would get smaller and smaller and smaller. So it was really just like a business kind of setting,
Well, after a year at Pembroke, you became a part. We're thankful you became a part of this elite program. How did you get connected with Coach Ridge and Davidson-Davie basketball?
My dad has known Coach Ridge for a little bit. I remember coming to, I think, a practice. I was really young. I think in middle school when y'all were Royal. I think the color was Royal that y'all were. And he's just been connected ever since I was with Southeast and with East Forsyth and Forsyth Country Day. So, yeah, he's just been connected.
So you're 11 games into your career here at Davidson-Davie. What's the experience been like so far for you?
It's been great. It's been amazing. I've enjoyed every moment of it.
I know your brother is redshirted this year, but he's still around the team. How does it feel like being back on the same team with him again?
It's good. I like David. It's great being with David. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite moment so far?
The whole season, basically.
Yeah. Not last night. We're going to talk about last night. But do you have a favorite thing so far? A favorite memory so far this early in the season?
Favorite memory, I'd probably say from Catawba Valley when I dunked on dude, and then I came down and hit the little mid-range, and then probably the pull-up three. That's probably my favorite moment so far.
Yeah, that was a big momentum shift there too. I remember seeing the dunk on the replay board over there. It was quite a show.
Yeah, that's good.
During the summer, before you get in here, things you're working on, or were there specific things that you wanted to work on? You said, hey, Will's got to be better at this. Were there things that you worked on in the off season?
Just getting reps, really. Staying on the gun. I tried to get on the gun as much as I could this summer. Like, I would wake up, eat, try to figure out a time for me to do this, do that, and then I would make my way over here to shoot on the gun. So mid-ranges, threes, floaters, all that. So, and raising my confidence. I didn't have that much confidence last year, so as many reps as I got in this summer, I just tried to build it up all up for now.
How many shots a day do you get up?
Well, I've been slacking, I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
But this summer, I tried to get up over 700.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what do you feel like? How do you feel as you think about the team this year? How do you see your role? What's your role on this team?
it's changed basically. Just really since I have a year under my belt from being at a D2 school, just kind of showing the guys how to work hard every single day. Other than that, doing things the right way so they know what to do for every obstacle or every opportunity. And just being a voice, being another coach on the court. I just try to tell people what to do, I like telling people what to do and how to do it right. So even if I jaw at them, I just want what's best for them. So, yeah, just being an extensive coach on the court.
What do you think about this team so far this year?
Man, they some chumps for real, but they're great. It's great. I mean, they all tell you things. The delivery will be different. I will say that, but it's great. They all know what they're doing. They all know experience. They know a lot of stuff. So I just try to listen to them as much as I can, even when I don't like what they're saying. I try to listen to them as much as I can.
Goals after you finish here at DDCC?
Well, obviously I would like to earn a scholarship somewhere because, I had a scholarship before I got here. I want the championship, just like everybody else has been saying. I want us to win a championship for the first time. And probably just being consistent with my basketball career, just, showing coaches that I can do a lot on and off the court. So
Work hard, listen to these coaches, and you guys can do that for sure.
Yes, sir.
And I always ask everybody that comes up here, except for Ethan English, I know his nickname. Do you have a nickname?
Well,
Huh? What's his nickname?
we all call each other Chump.
Okay.
Like, I'm called Biggest Chump sometimes. Like, J-Rob can be called Biggest Chump too. But Harold, I'll probably say it's my middle name, so they've just gravitated towards it. So
All right, I could probably use that on the air. I think if I call you guys chump on a broadcast, I'll probably get in trouble for that. But yeah, that's good. 14 points last night.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
talk real quick about, just to ask you a question about the Sand Hill game. What does the team do to put that game in perspective?
just be smarter coming down the stretch. Ethan fouled out with 2 minutes left, and we were up 6, I think, and we just had some plays where we could have been a lot smarter. We could have out-rebounded them in those last 2 minutes. So just being smarter, wanting it more, being more hungry, showing that we've been there before. So just things we can pick up on and fix.
Learn from it and get ready for the game Saturday against Wake Tech.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Will Gray. Thanks and says, we see you, Coach Dumas. We're going to bring Jalen Roberts up real quick. We'll do one with Jalen. Jalen's a surprise. He wasn't prepared for this, but we're going to bring him up. A 6'4" guard out of Knoxville, Tennessee, averaging 3.4 points a game, 2.2 rebounds a game on the young season. You got a assist to turnover ratio of 2, which is good. Tell us a little bit about your path to get here. How did you come to Davidson-Davie?
Well, it was kind of crazy because I didn't know about this school at all. But at my last school, I didn't really have nowhere to go, so I had got a call from my mom saying that one of her friends from work is about to work here. So the friend from work gave me Coach Ridge's number. I sent Coach Ridge my film, came down here for an open gym, then kind of just got the offer, and it was downhill from there. So that's really about it.
So you're 11 games into your career here. How does it feel to play for this elite program?
Man, I love it. I love all the guys to my right. I love Coach Ridge, Coach Dumas, Coach Allen. I love everyone I see on the campus, everyone that helps out. It's just a great experience. A lot of love around this program.
So you went to high school in Tennessee. So you come into a place that's new for you. What does a day look like for Jalen Roberts being a student athlete?
Mm-hmm. Well, day for me, you wake up, take a shower, get to school, go to study hall, do your work. Then you got practice after that, 3 hours. And by the time you get out of practice, it's time to go home, lay down, do homework, get on the game, go to sleep, repeat the same thing next day.
How many shots a day do you get in?
I've been slacking with that, but when I do get in here, I try to get up 500, 600 a day.
Okay. So both you and Will admitted, Coach is watching. Coach Ridge is watching the show tonight. So
my bad, Coach.
Okay. Talk a little bit about what it's like to play for Coach Ridge and Coach Dumas and Coach Allen. What kind of expectations, how tough are they on you guys?
They're really tough, but honestly, it's great because if they're not tough on you, they don't believe in you. So I wouldn't have it any other way, if I'm being honest. But it's a great experience. You come in, they might yell at you, but they yell at everybody, so you can't get mad at it. And then, everybody's going through the same thing, so it's just like everybody feels the same pressure, so it's not like you left out of anything, and you got people that you can relate to, so it's a great experience, and a lot of good guys on the team, so it's not like, you know what I'm saying, like, it's not like you're alone in any of it.
Right.
So
now that you're here and you know about the history of this program, and it has a winning history, we're still looking for that one banner, one trophy to bring into Brinkley here, but you know the history here now. What are your thoughts on the team, this team, and what you guys are doing this year?
we're special. I don't know what it is, but we're special. So we got something good coming. I'm not going to promise anything, but in the back of my mind, I think we just special. I can't tell you what it is, but we special.
I think you had I watched a little bit of the game last night. I wasn't able to go to it. I think you had 3 blocks in the game last night. And I know we all like the 20-point outputs and we like the offense, but talk about what it means to play and how important it is to play defense here for this program.
If you're not playing defense, you're not on the floor. Yeah, coach tells you every day, if you're not going to deny quick recovery, you're going to be on the bench. So going in, that's number one priority for everyone. And coach emphasizes it every day. And if you don't do it, you're not going to play.
What kind of goals do you have for either yourself or for the team this year, Jalen?
I want to be the first team to put up a banner. After the fact, I want to see all my guys go to the school they want to go to and everyone see success through this program, honestly.
Do you have any rituals, any pregame rituals that you go through?
I try to go to Chick-fil-A before every game.
Every game?
Mm-hmm. I've been doing that since high school.
Did you go last night?
Yeah.
Okay. and then ask you also nickname.
They call me J-Rob around here, but I got a lot of other nicknames around the world. Some people call me J-Cab. Some people call me J-Money. Whatever you want to call me, it's all right.
J Money, you might have Ethan might have a problem with that one. It's a little bit close to his.
Yeah, I let E Money keep E Money. I'm cool with J Rob, cause I think that's better than J Money because don't nobody. I've never been called J Rob before.
I
So,
like J-Rob. I like it better than Chump, too, so
Yeah.
I would never call you that.
To be clear, I'm not a chump.
Okay,
Will
all
was
right.
lying, so I don't know what he was talking about up here. I'm far from a chump.
Well, and I absolutely agree with you. Well, looking forward to seeing you on the court the rest of this season and what you can do here and what this team can do for the rest of the year as well. So,
Yes, sir.
Jalen Roberts,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Very, very nicely done, both of you guys. All right, we're going to chat a little more with Coach Dumas. Again, Coach is in his second season here as Storm assistant. How has the experience been for you now you're into year 2 here?
It's been well. Pretty much everything I expected. Last year, I got my feet wet. It was an experience. I was kind of, I knew how to coach basketball, but it was learning all the other things, the recruiting, the scouting, the late nights, the early mornings, all those things that go along with it that I necessarily didn't have to deal with in high school. This season, I'm more seasoned. I knew what to expect. I knew what, I'm even better with going up and talking to recruits. That shyness is kind of worn off.
Right.
When I do my breakdowns of teams now, my scouting reports, I'm more efficient with that because, I'm experienced. Experience sometimes is the best teacher when it comes to those things. And I think, too, I'm just more comfortable. Last year, with it being my first year, I was the new guy, trying to still even get to know Coach Ridge and Coach Allen well, at the same time learning 18 new individuals that I'd never met before in my life and, just trying to find my place. And, now that, I got that year behind me, I felt like I have found my place. My relationship with Coach Ridge and Allen is great. I love all these guys over here. These knuckleheads. Will, funny thing about Will, I coached against him in high school, so I've been knowing him for a while. But not gonna say how that game went. But it's just one of those things that I feel I always felt a part of the family, but now I really feel like I have a place in the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here, and we know you can coach. I mean, I just look at your success in your coaching career. You won a state championship in the Triple SA 17 and under men's, and you rebuilt High Point Andrews back to prominence and to a seasonal contender. And I know that had to feel really special for you because you played high school basketball there.
Yes, sir. Andrews was one of those places growing up as a kid. You always, you look at it. I want to go to the NBA, but I'm going to Andrews first. Growing up in High Point, that's just kind of how we looked at it. If you got to go through Andrews to get to the NBA. It's one of those things. But, we just had that respect for the school and all the winning that we did. And so, over the past years, when I was in college and even post-college, we kind of dropped off. We kind of dropped off in a lot of our sports. And one of the things that I always thought it would be cool to do once I really started coaching was to be able to go back and kind of help revive the program and, in a sense, help kind of try to revive the school as a whole in my own little way. And I'm blessed to say I think we kind of accomplished that goal. We did that. Even though it was 4 short years, it was a great experience. It's something that I would never trade. I created some lifelong relationships with my players that I had there for me. A few of them are playing college ball now, and some of them are running track in college. So, and we still keep in touch. So it's, it was a unique but great experience. It just feels good to be able to go back and help your own and be able to walk the same hallways you walked as a teenager and, be in the same neighborhood that you played in when you were a kid.
Right. So 4 years there. Speaking of 4, you were a 4-star athlete when you were at high school there. I believe basketball, football, soccer, and track.
Yes, sir.
You also attended North Carolina A&T. I think you were going to play basketball, but a couple, I think, of knee injuries, ACL tears kind of ended that for you, didn't it?
Yeah, I had 2 of those.
Yeah.
Like I told you earlier, after I tore it the first time, I liked it so much I did it again. So, it was just one of those things like, I always felt like I've always lived under the moniker, your story is already written. You know, just, with my religion base, God has plans that you don't see. And, I've always felt like me being injured so much, unfortunately, I learned how to coach because I got to sit there and watch and observe and do those things. And I was getting trained at a time that I really didn't even realize it. And so sometimes blessings come in disguises.
How did you get connected with Coach Ridge and the staff here at DDCC?
It's funny, Coach Ridge was actually recruiting one of my players at Andrews, and I actually came over here to talk to him about it. And while we were talking, I just was curious myself. I was like, man, this is something that I would like to do one day, coach on a higher level. Do you have any advice for me or anything? And basically, he just extended an opportunity to come in and do an interview. And, I'm thinking myself, he's just looking out for me, giving me practice. I didn't really, I was making a schedule for Andrews. I was going back, like, preparing for next season. And I came in early on a Monday morning before they had their official interviews. And it worked out where I guess I was the guy that they wanted. And I was surprised. He called me a few days later and offered me the job. And, I was in shock, really, because I knew what this program was. And it was not something that, I was looking for. It just kind of happened. So.
With differences, are there any marked differences between coaching there at Andrews and coming here and coaching at this level?
Well, yeah, definitely the intensity in which I do everything. Like I say, preparing our kids for a game, preparing for a game, period. All the recruiting and those long nights on the road, going to different schools and meeting different coaches and kids. That's the big difference. We at Andrews, we're practice 6 days a week and do those sorts of things that we do here, but not on the level that we do it here. And like I say, I think that's what makes this program so elite. The hard work that we put in, the attention to detail that we put in everything that we do kind of helps us keep growing and, hopefully, like I say, get to that promised land.
Well, I mean, you're from the area, so you know the history of this program. I mean, it's only an 18-year-old program. This is the 18th season. Why do you think it's been so successful?
The consistency. And when I say consistency, I mean the one consistent thing that has been here is Coach Ridge. Like I say, I know they say you win a lot of games with the Jimmies and the Joes, but I've seen a lot of teams with Jimmies and Joes, but nobody to lead them. And one thing about Coach Ridge that I noticed off the gate, he don't care who you are. It's first man to the 15th man. You going to get the same treatment. There's no special treatment. He's going to make you work just as hard. And when you bring young men into a situation like that, they have no choice but to band together and work together as a team, which is, the direct definition of working together to accomplish a goal. And that's what I think he's instilled here. He's done an amazing job, especially when you think about the fact that turnover is so high. It's not like we're in a situation where we have a guy for 4 and 5 years. You have a kid for 2 years, 3 if we're lucky. If we're blessed to where, it was a red shirt or something like that. And now all of a sudden you're having to learn a new kid and how they play and mesh them in with the ones that you have. That's amazing. It's amazing what he's accomplished. I don't think that should be underscored. And I think that is one of the things that makes this program so special.
Well, now we know he has high expectations for these guys over here to our right. What about the expectations for you and Coach Allen? What's it like?
Oh, they don't see it, but they're just as high for us. He texts us, you got your scouting report, you got this, you got that, making sure that we're on point. And because he knows if we slip, they'll slip. And so, he holds us accountable just like them, and that's good for us. Just like I think J-Rob said it, with us holding them accountable, it makes them better. Well, I kind of look at that in the same way with how he's, kind of helping nurture me as a coach, helping me grow. That, that accountability is helping me become a better coach on a lot of things.
So as a coach and as a man, you're looking to these guys to your right. If you could give them a piece of advice, maybe not around sports, but just as they continue down their life path, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I guess it would be a couple things. I mean, the first thing, and I've told them this before, to never be afraid of success. Never be afraid to put in the work to get to where you want to go. And never quit. Always persevere. The only thing that can stop you is you. And so, I've never seen anybody basically do anything positive with a negative mindset. So even when in saying that, you got to stay positive. You got to just keep pushing forward no matter what life throws at you. And you can't be so fixated on what's right in front of you that you can't see the big picture. And, that's really what I hope they take, if they take anything from me, that.
I think that's sage advice. I like that. It's been a pleasure getting to know a little bit more about you.
Thank you.
We've got some more basketball left to play. We got a big game coming up here. Scott Overton calls this place the Boom Room. That's what he calls Brinkley Gym. I think that's a good nickname for it. But we got Wake Tech coming in here Saturday at 3 o'clock. You guys have already seen Wake Tech once. They're a D1 opponent. What are the keys, do you think, for us in that game to defend home court here?
Well, like I say, we got to match their intensity. Whatever that is, we have to match it and actually have more intensity. Also, we need to make sure we defend our glass. We need to rebound. We have to rebound. They're a great rebounding team. They get a lot of second chance points, and we have to eradicate that. Also, defensively, like I say, we just got to fly around. We got to talk. We got to play as one, and we got to execute on the offensive end. We got to run our sets efficiently, sprint through our cuts, not jog, do all those little things that help put us over the top. Wake Tech is, like I said, they played us very tough the first time. So they're coming in here, and I told them that. I told our guys this today. They're coming in here thinking they believe in. They think they can win. And what we need to also understand that the position that we're in, not saying it in a braggadocious way, but you beat us, that can make your season. And with us knowing that, we're every team's Super Bowl right now. And, like I say, I'm not saying that in a brash way. I'm just saying right now the position we're in, a win over us could really help catapult another team, and we got to know that. And so, like I say, we have to match their intensity at every step.
Well, bring the A game on Saturday, and we look forward to seeing you guys there. Former players, we want to wrap it up, talk a little bit about some former players. We've got a lot of former players still playing basketball, their careers still going on. It's a pleasure to see that.
Yeah. You got Dawkins over there out there in Germany. He's averaging 20 points a contest. I mean, all I hear is good things about him. Like I say, I'm still kind of new to the family. So some guys that I met, some that I haven't quite yet. But all I've ever heard were good things about him, and he seems to be a beast out there. Faust, funny thing, I coached against him in high school too. I always figured he would be a special player. He was a good player at Providence Grove. He's averaging about 4 points, 3 rebounds a game. Then we got Aaron Ross out there at Chowan. He's averaging 12 points a game, 4 rebounds. So he's doing really well. Keith Freeze, he's out there with him at Chowan University, and he's averaging 4 and 4. Then we have Jaheim and Chase out there together at Lenore Ryan. And Jaheim, he was averaging 2.3, but he's unfortunately had a knee injury. And same thing with Chase. Both of those guys, really great players, really great people. I did have the honor to meet those guys. And they, really good hearts. And so I kind of hate they're going through the injury bug, but they'll bounce back. Trey and Najee, which I had the pleasure of being able to coach along with Mike last year. Trey and Najee at Barton, their numbers are increasing. Trey's averaging 7 and Najee's averaging 6, and they're just getting better and better each game. Mike out there at Montreat, he's just coming off an injury, but if I know Mike the way I know Mike, he's gonna explode out there. Right now, he's just averaging 2 points and 2 rebounds, but I guarantee you by the end of this season, those numbers will be way up with him.
Yeah, he's gotten to play the last couple of games at Montreat, which is great to see. And also, we just found out, I saw this, I think yesterday, David Tripp, who played here back 2015-16 in that range, also was an assistant coach here.
Yeah.
He just signed a pro ball contract to play in Armenia, so he's in the top league in Armenia, which could lead to playing in France or, you know, a different European league. So David Tripp still continuing his basketball journey as well. So those things are very nice to see. So there's a lot of players, and a lot of these players will be doing the same thing.
Yes, they will. I believe in each and every one of them. You know, I tell them that every day, and they gonna go as far as they want to go. It's on them. But they have the tools, they have the support, and I know they can do it.
Well, we got, let's see, a couple of folks out watching. Coach Ridge, of course, and his wife Candace. Hope you guys are doing well. Out watching. Manuel Tigg and his wife are in the building here. Lily Jackson said you were the #1 high school coach. Tony Gibson saying, my guy. Brandon Mullis is watching. And then we also had a comment from Tim Gwillem, who does the replay, does a lot of stuff here at the school, but the replay on game day. He said he's glad to have Will, J-Rob, and also Coach Dumas as part of the Storm family, and that is absolutely true. So
Tim's the man.
He absolutely
does
is.
it all.
So I just want to thank you, Coach, for doing this. You did a great job, very articulate, well-spoken. Of course, Will Gray, Jalen Roberts, thank you guys for coming up and doing the player interviews. Patrick Stevens for doing the board work and putting all this on for us. So we appreciate that. And we appreciate you, the Storm fans, for following and supporting this program. It means the world, doesn't it?
It does. It means a lot. You know, a lot of people think just what they see on game day is all that it is. And honestly, a lot of these things wouldn't be possible without some of the best sponsors in the world. Todd Hunt over at Jerry Hunt Super Center, he has been a blessing to us. Josh Hill with the Hill Group, Justin Strickland, you know, name speaks alone over here in around this area. But with the Strickland Brothers and Fidelity Bank and Mohawk Industries, all have been blessings to us. And, you know, we're more than welcome to receive more blessings. You know, any way that anyone in the community would love to reach out and help us, we would love it. I think that, you know, our young men, they work hard, they're deserving of it, and we appreciate everything that comes our way.
It absolutely does make a difference. And I want to thank all the coaches here, you and Coach Allen. You showed me your schedule just a month before we came on the air, and it's a beast, man. It really is a beast. So I thank you and Coach Allen and certainly Coach Ridge for all that you do, not just for this program, but for these guys here. And it means the world to them. And they'll carry these life lessons on. They'll be part of this Storm family forever, but the things that you guys are instilling in them, they'll carry on, and it'll affect the rest of their lives. So thank you for that.
I appreciate it. We love to do it. I mean, I feel blessed to be able to do it. It's one of those things that I'm not in the NBA, so what is that other dream? And I'm living it. So, you know, I'm lucky to be able to be in their presence.
You guys bring us a banner, okay? I think that'll be good. Saturday, we want to invite you to come out here to Brinkley for a home game, 3 o'clock against Wake Tech. Our next coaches show is not until the new year, so January 16th at 7 p.m. You can watch us on Facebook or YouTube, or actually there's plenty of seating here. You can come out here to Brinkley Gym and enjoy us live, and that'll be fun as well. So we thank you, the Storm fan, for watching and supporting the program. And as we always do, we end the program, Coach Dumas, with Go Storm.
Go Storm.
Thank you, sir. Good job.
Thank you.